Welcome to the Women's Motorsports Network podcast, the show that puts the spotlight on the incredible women who fuel the world of motorsports. From drivers to crew members, engineers to fans, and everyone in between, we're here to celebrate the trailblazers, dreamers, and doers shaping the sport we love. Each episode, we share inspiring stories of females of all ages from every corner of the motorsports universe, past, present, and future. It's a journey through the seasons of life filled with heartfelt moments, laughter, and a whole lot of horsepower. So, whether you're a lifelong fan, a racer yourself, or simply curious about the extraordinary women behind the wheel, settle in, relax, and enjoy a fun and uplifting ride with us. This is the Women's Motorsports Network podcast, connecting and celebrating women in motorsports, one story at a time. Let's hit the track. Hello, everyone. This is Melinda Russell with the Women's Motorsports Network podcast. And my guest today is Hannah Coltrane. And Hannah comes to us from Virginia. And she said it's snowing there. Well, that's because I live in Michigan and I sent the snow to you, Hannah. So there you go.
You can have it
So,
back.
Hannah, would you start by sharing a little bit about yourself so we can get to know you better?
Sure. I was born in Lynchburg, Virginia, have lived in Richmond, Virginia most of my life since I was a baby.
Mhm.
And besides going to college in West Virginia, I'm not married. I have no kids. So I do what I want when I want. And I currently am the office manager for a small marine construction company and the promotions director for Capital City Speedway, which is a 1/4 oval clay go-kart track in Ashland, Virginia.
Okay, awesome. So, how did you get interested in motorsports? How did you get to become the promotions director? Where did it start?
Well, I've always been interested in anything with an engine. I can remember being 5 years old and my mom telling me her favorite car was a 1957 Corvette convertible, red with the white sculpted side panels.
Mm-hmm.
And so that got my fascination into cars. And I've just always liked racing and cars. And then, have been to several Indy races at Richmond International, went to a few late model stock car races at Dominion. And then in 2012, friend of mine, introduced me to a man by the name of Jimmy Hamrick. And they knew each other from racing together at Capital City Speedway, go-kart. And when I started dating Jimmy in early 2012, he told me that he was into go-kart racing. Great. I've always been into anything with an engine, maybe this goes somewhere, I'll come watch you. Well, I went and watched him and I was kind of hooked on going out there every Saturday, helping him, hanging out with friends, making connections. And eventually, Jimmy and I got married in 2015. I mean, the whole time we were together, it was racing on Saturdays. He told me before we ever even got married that that's what he did on Saturdays, March
Mm-hmm.
through November. And if
Mm-hmm.
I had a problem with it, this relationship wasn't going to go anywhere.
Right.
So, um, yeah, uh, I helped him with racing. We actually worked together with Minnie Tyrell, who does Minnie's mission um, on several of his different teams, his arena racing team at the beginning of his late model stock car. So our whole relationship was just racing, going to races, and it was great. Unfortunately, he passed away
Oh, I'm
November of,
sorry.
thank you. Unfortunately, he passed away November of 2019. And every year since his death, starting in 2020, or no, 2021, because 2020 was COVID. So we
Right.
didn't race much that year. So 2021, we had our first memorial race for him. And each year it's gotten bigger and bigger, and I've gotten more sponsors and more money. And Capital City Speedway, our home track, liked the way that I handled that and asked me if I wanted to be their promotions director. So that's
Okay.
how I got to do that.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
So
Elaine. Oh, no, I'm
you
sorry. Go ahead.
you went from, it was a step by step by step. One thing led to the other.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Um, the the scorer and one of the track leaders um, is Elaine Beasley. She Her family owns Capital City Speedway, and she initially was the one initially to come to me. And I have a special place in my heart for her because her husband, who used to do what I do now for the track, was killed in 2022 in a drunk driving accident, unfortunately.
Oh gosh.
So she and I have that bond and that
Hmm.
connection in that manner, which made me want to do this even more and help her
Right.
do this even more.
Yeah. So tell me about being a promotions director. What does that entail? What is it? I mean, is it I'm sure, a year round job because you got to get things set up and then the promotions take off. So tell me what's your life like? You have a real job, if we want to put it that way, and then you do this as well. So tell me what do you do? How do you figure out the promotions? How do you get them set up? Tell me about that.
Well, I try to get our name out there in any which way I possibly can. Last year, we went to Dominion Raceway and did a display before one of their, no, two of their races, just to get our name out there, give away, some free admissions to our year-end race, which is a turkey trot, and just finding different ways to do that. So I'm still all the time looking for somebody who maybe host us, or we don't have much money to spend on advertising. So any way I can get the name out there for free, I'm going to take it.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
Yeah. So what's been your most fun promotion?
hmm. I last year with doing our Dominion, it was it was fun. It's work. It is. Most of these races take place in the summertime, and it's on asphalt and it's hot.
Hmm.
So, but it's always great because I get to be around cars and you know watch racers. So that's always the cool part of it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And it's your family. It's a second family.
It is. It
Yeah.
is very much
For-
so.
Yeah, for sure. So tell me some of the promotions that you do, cuz other tracks are always looking for new ideas. So what are some things that you do?
Ooh. Well, I've just started being their promotions director in October of 2023 because
Oh,
Elaine, yeah, did that for like a year by herself after her husband's death. And so I've come in October 2023. So last year we did, the display at Dominion Raceway. And then I've tried to get us, have done a couple radio interviews or advertisements, I should say, for my husband's. I put on the memorial race for him every fall,
uh-huh.
and done some free radio broadcast in that manner, which I'm trying to do that again this year, hopefully to set up for Capital City.
Okay.
Um, but a few radio promotions. That's about it
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Trying to think of more ways every time.
Mhm. Exactly.
Contacting larger raceways to maybe get our name out there and do a display like we did at Dominion last year.
Yeah, just a little table with a booth of some kind, inviting especially kids, because is it still mostly quarter midgets?
Well, we run both champ, or excuse me, yeah, the champ and the flat carts are what we run. Oh, and juice boxes, which can, I think I've seen kids run as young as 3 in that age, in that class. But then you can start out as young as 5 in
Okay.
some of our classes. But we
Oh,
do have a lot of older racers. We have, extra heavy classes, which are 375 and more.
yeah.
Um, so it's all different age ranges.
Yeah,
But
it
yes, we
is.
do have a lot. Yeah, we do have a lot that start at the younger age. I
Uh-huh.
mean, we've had one of the big names that used to started at our track is Denny Hamlin.
Oh, really? Well,
So
that's kind of a
yes,
cool thing. You got to promote that then every
yeah,
chance you get. Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
So,
So and we've
yeah,
had
I think going to other tracks, like you said, and, even having like a sign up sheet or something where you can get email addresses of people and say, would you like to be on our email list? We would love to keep you informed of our schedule, that kind of thing.
yes.
Because I'll give you some advice if I can. My
Oh,
face,
absolutely. I'm always up for it.
my Women's Motorsports Network Facebook page has been hacked twice now. Once in
Oh,
2023, I lost over 10,000 followers. And then about a month ago, and so I eventually had to restart my page. And then about a month ago, I lost both my personal page, which then I lost all my other pages, my Women's Motorsports page, my Shopify page, etc. So I've had to start over again. And but the thing that they can't take away from me are my email addresses that I collect. And so
that's right.
I collect email addresses so that people can stay in touch with me. Or, for instance, I sent an email to everyone and said, hey, I got hacked. Don't accept any new friend requests, etc. So,
Right.
emails
Got-
are a great way to stay in touch with people. And people will give them to you, they'll give you their email
Oh,
address. Yeah.
good. That's a great idea. Thank you.
Yeah. And then do
I'm
you
always looking for new ideas.
do you have any kind of try and rides like where people come out and just give it a try sometime?
Picture this. You're at the track looking at all the merch trailers. What do you see? Shirts and hats everywhere. And you think, I want more. That's how Four Left Turns was born. At Four Left Turns, we create unique products for race fans. Our retail website is fourleftturns.net. And if you're looking to stock your gift shop or merch trailer, we also sell wholesale. Four Left Turns is a one-stop shop for everything racing. Well, except shirts and hats. We don't do those. Made for race fans by race fans, fourleftturns.net.
We don't have an arrive and drive, but there are several people that will rent out,
Okay.
and just contacting Capital City Speedway, we can get you in touch with someone who will rent out to you.
Yeah.
And we do have a, a run what you brung class, which
Okay.
is basically what it sounds like.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
can get it out there, and it's a go-kart, Predator, clone, two-car, whatever, you're bring it.
Yeah. Bring it. Just bring it and race it. Have fun.
That's right.
Yeah, I think an arrive and drive is a really good way to get new people interested because the problem, Hannah, is that people don't understand what it's all about. And if they haven't been somewhere to see it, then they don't understand it and they think it's too expensive or that it's too hard or all the things, right? Whereas if they go and see it or they take their child to give it a try and the child loves it, could be what happens when my granddaughters went to a try and ride and their dad came home with two quarter midgets because they loved it. And so,
Right.
you know, he's not going to tell them no. Yeah. So I think that's always a really good option. And then, another, here I'm giving you ideas. I'm supposed to be interviewing you, but another good,
No, great.
another good idea is, find a couple people at the track who would be willing to display their go-kart on a Saturday, or their cart, whatever they're driving, on a Saturday at like the McDonald's, or a busier, store or restaurant, or in front of Target or something, and just
Right,
have a little table and say, have you ever been to Capital City Speedway? And, probably not, because a lot of people don't even know what speedways are in their own town, believe it or not. And
right,
hand out your schedule, have some schedules printed to hand out. I mean, there's a lot of ways to promote your track and what you've got going on, but the biggest thing is educating people about it,
right,
because they just don't know. Yeah.
right, right. Well, we do have a lot of those coffee and cars or
Yes.
cruise-ins around the area. So that's a great idea. Thank you,
Yeah.
Melinda.
That's another really good idea. I've interviewed
That
some
is. Look
promoters,
at
so
you.
I can't take all the credit. I'm thinking about what other people have told me.
Right,
Have boy or girl scout night, where, you know, the scout gets in free, and the parents would come and they could check it out.
right,
Any kind of group like that, you know, boys and girls clubs, anything like that. If just, and again, it's nothing more than a little flyer that you can
right.
take to the whoever, and they hand it out and the kids take it home or take it to the school or
Oh, yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that's what we've been doing at the, like at Dominion. And
yeah.
so,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. So, just have to, the hardest thing about promotions, I think, and I'm promoting Women's Motorsports Network, and it's kind of the same, only it's not a racetrack. But you have to think, who's watching me, who's paying attention, like on their social media pages and that kind of thing. Who follows them on Facebook, who's following me, and what's the best way to get more people interested. And you
right,
have to kind of reach out. I remember somebody saying to me one time, think of your track as a pizza. Three-fourths of the pizza are the people that already come. You don't really have to promote to them. It's that little slice that that don't know about you. That's who you need to promote to. And I thought that was a really
right.
good analogy, because I could see that in my head. I could see a pizza,
Yes,
and it's like, oh, I need to promote to this slice. And who is that slice? Well, it's Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, gymnastic places, anything. I'd start with kids, any place where kids are involved in other things like karate, other kinds of stuff like that, softball, baseball.
yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I've talked more, and I want you to tell me more about what makes you interested in trying to promote the speedway, because of your husband. What is it that keeps you going there?
I think it's all because of my late husband.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just more or less of a tribute to him, to something that he was connected to, something that he felt close with, helps me continue to feel close to him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah. And they were his friends and his race family too, and so that makes you
right,
still connected to them for sure. Yeah.
right. And it's my best friend and her husband who introduced me to him.
Okay.
So that's part of it too. They're
Yeah.
still into racing. They still do that. Their son, still travels a lot with racing. And
Okay.
um, so, yeah, that keeps me in it too.
Yeah, for sure. What's one of your favorite memories from going to the track?
My,
Oh,
the
this is going to
first,
be a good one, I can tell.
well, I had, been dating Jimmy. for a while, where I can't remember if we were married. I think we might have just gotten married. And so, yes, I believe we had just gotten married. And he was like, well, why don't you try it? You come out here with me all the time. You work on it, you help me, but you've never actually been behind a wheel. Let's get you in one. Okay, fine. I was psyched.
Mm-hmm.
First time out on the track, I'm going really slow. First few times around, and I start picking up speed, getting braver and braver. I spin out and I hit the hay bales. It's, dust everywhere. I can't see anything. I thought it was the best thing ever. I am smiling and laughing. And he comes running over to me with this completely worried, frantic look on his face,
Mm-hmm.
scared to death. And he comes running up to me and says, are you laughing? It's like, yes, that was great. I want to do it again.
Yeah, that's funny. Well, and
So,
that's the
yeah,
thing, people think it's scary. People think they can't do it. And you have to try. Just give it a try. You don't know. Maybe you really will love it. So have you ever
right.
thought about getting back in the car and actually doing some racing?
I would love to. I'm too old.
Oh
I'm
no,
50,
I don't believe that. No, 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 no.
I'm 51. I'm out of shape.
Doesn't matter. The car
Um,
doesn't know.
true, true.
The
Oh,
car
if I
does.
could race something bigger than a go-kart,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So do
but
you have other tracks? Dominion, I know you said. Are there other tracks close to you as well?
well, VIR, I know you just did an
Oh,
interview with them, didn't you? Yeah, they're
yeah.
close. Um,
Have you
let's
ever been
see,
there?
Dominion. A long time ago. It
Oh, you need to
hasn't
go back.
been recently.
You
Yes, I
need to
do. I
you
heard the
need to go
interview.
back. I haven't been there, but it's on my bucket list. And after I interviewed Connie, I really want to go. And so I gotta twist my husband's arm to take a road trip out east a little bit. But everybody that goes there tells me that not only is the racing amazing, but you just have to see it because it's beautiful. And so that's another
Right.
reason I want to go. And so, yeah, I think we're gonna try to put that on our calendar for the summer. So you'll have to make a trip there.
Well, good. Yes.
Yeah.
And then Richmond International Raceway. I used to live less than a mile from there. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So you would have opportunities if you really wanted to get into something, but you're happy, I think,
Yes.
trying to grow Capital City.
I am. That's what I want to do is
Yeah.
I remember a time when the parking lot was full and there was 500 plus entries, and we
Yeah.
don't get that a lot anymore.
Mm-mm.
And I want to build it back up to how it used to be.
Yeah. Well, and that's good because you have a goal and you remember when it was the way it was. And so you kind of in your mind's eye, you can see it. You just have to figure out how to get it to be that way.
Right.
Yeah. So does the track have any like sponsors that do they sponsor like the trophies and things like that?
We do. So we can't make it without our sponsors.
Sure.
That's, one of the main reasons we're open. Maxis was our biggest sponsor for 20 years, but this year we changed to a Reaper track. So we use Reaper tires this year.
Okay.
Um, so they're our big sponsor this year, but we also have like NS 804, Avis Electric, Reaper, Premier, go-karts, which is Hermie Sadler's company.
Okay.
Um, yeah, Kart One Racing, Higgy's House of Power, X Factor. I think that's about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey,
Yeah,
I mean
so those guys keep us going.
that's a good number really of sponsors, for
It
a track
is.
that's maybe not as well known as some of the others. So, is that something that somebody else takes care of as far as getting sponsors, or is that something
Yeah,
you help with?
I get a lot of sponsors from my husband's. Memorial Race in the fall, and
Mm-hmm.
some of these are repeats. X
Okay.
Factor Motorsports, yeah.
Yeah.
Maxxis sponsored that race for a long time too. But the person or people mainly involved in getting the sponsorships are the Beasleys who own the track.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
yeah,
And that's basically Elaine. And does she have other family that helps with the track?
she does. Oh yeah, absolutely. We've got Mike and Lisa Beasley actually own the track. Elaine
Okay.
helps them. She's one of the race directors and she does scoring. Our flagman is Bailey Moore. We have a couple other race directors, Bailey and Eddie Moore.
Okay.
Um, and then uh, I know Barbara Hall. She works the front gate. Our announcer, Stevie Minson,
Okay.
he's wonderful. He actually does some of the national races, like the Maxis Nationals. Usually uses him every year for an announcer.
Okay.
So yeah, there's a lot of people and a lot of that goes into this that people
It
don't
takes
see.
it takes a lot of people to keep a track going. People don't understand all the people behind the
Right,
scenes. And like you said, scoring, that's a big job. I just interviewed a gal that does timing and scoring and that's just her passion too. And
right.
like she said, people don't realize how important it is and how it's a job that you can't do with they have to have it, you can't do without it. And so it's great. It sounds like they have a lot of dedicated people that have helped them and continue to do so. They everybody wants to see the track succeed, don't they?
Oh yeah, yeah. Elaine does a great job of making out the race schedule for our races because she handles it very well because you can't not please everybody all the time.
No.
Because a lot of people run more than one class and they want this spacing between races, and you've got to get just that right so people have time
Yeah.
to get off and on the track. And
Yeah.
so Elaine does really well with that.
That's good. Well, and she's had practice and she knows everybody, and so she knows what they race, and so she can kind of figure that
Right.
out. Because you're right,
Right.
no matter what you do, somebody's always going to be complaining about something for sure. Yeah. So you
I
said it's,
didn't use the word complain.
oh, well, okay. It is. That's what it is. It's complaining. So it's a clay track,
Yes, a
and you
quarter
said it's
mile.
1/4 mile. So it's not very
Yeah,
big. But if you're in a
right.
go kart or something, it's big enough, isn't it?
It is big enough. It is
Yeah.
big enough
Uh-huh.
to feel those G's when you're going around at 60 miles an
Yeah.
hour. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure. Now, do you have a lot of women that race or not so many?
not so many. We have Rebecca Bass. She helps a lot with X Factor. I know she races every once in a while. There's a young girl, Ava Martin, that I met this past summer. Other than those, I mean, I know there's a few, but they're
Uh-huh.
few and far between.
Yeah. But when you were naming the people that work there, it sounds like there are a lot of women that work there.
There are. And Elaine raced for a season a while ago, and I think a couple of those ladies, have at least been in a go-kart.
Yeah.
Like my best friend, she, helps her husband and their son out every weekend. She's at least been in a go-kart. She hasn't raced, but
Right.
yeah,
Yeah. That's cool. So does Capital City have a Facebook or Instagram social media pages?
we do. We have both Facebook and Instagram, and I pretty much run both of those. That's part of what I do too.
Okay. All right. And so
So
how do you promote the track on your social media?
it's a lot of just, of, it seems kind of redundant, and I seem to post the same thing over and over with just different wording, but that's what you got to do. You got to, make sure that it's out there several times a day. I
Yeah,
read somewhere that the most productive pages have at least 8 posts a day. Now that's really hard to do, like
that's a
right now
lot.
in our off season.
Yeah. That's a
Yeah,
lot, and
that's really, yeah,
that's probably more than you need unless it's race day. And then if
yeah,
you post pictures of each class and the winner of each class or whatever, that's a different story. But yeah,
oh
8 a
yeah,
day I think would be too many. I can't begin to post 8 a day. If I post 2 to
yeah,
3 a day, and that's even
right,
a lot for some people, but I do a lot ahead of time and schedule it, so I'm not having to get on and do it every day. I
right.
have a way to schedule it so they automatically post. But it's a lot of work keeping up with all that.
It is, it
Yeah.
is. Right now it's, we're off season, so it's not as much, but I think is it March 5th? March 8th is our very first race of the year.
Okay.
So that's coming up quick, coming
Couple
up
weeks
quick.
away.
If it's quit snowing.
Yeah. I don't know if you'll have to see how that goes because I don't think it's gonna quit here by then. I don't think we start racing in the Kalamazoo area till the maybe the third or last week of April. And then it can be pretty cold, there too.
Yeah,
So you just have to see what Mother Nature is doing and then figure that out from there for sure. Yeah.
yes, yes.
So, do you have a fair amount of people that come to watch, mostly family members or um, people that come out every weekend to watch?
Mostly family members. I know that this past off season we have gotten a lot more people sending messages wanting to know about when races start and, can they just come as a spectator? So the word's getting out there,
Yeah.
but I do notice that it's a lot of family or helpers. And
Hmm.
um, so,
That
but I
helps
think
though.
with yeah, I think with giving away free tickets and, just promotions this
Hmm.
past season helped with bringing a little bit more attendance at the end of this season.
Yeah.
Um, I got to find a way to pick that up at the beginning of the season this year. So,
Yeah. And it's kind of like bring someone who's never been before. Every person that comes can bring one person who's not been there before and they get in for half price or they get in free or they get a free soda or something to encourage people that do come to invite their friends to come. Say, hey, come
right,
watch my
right,
grandson race or whatever it might be. So that's another
right,
thing that, we know that if we can get them to the track once, they'll come back. That's
right,
proven. I don't care what kind of racing it is. You get them there once,
right,
they're going to come back. Yeah.
right.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Hannah, what else would you like to tell me about or share with me about, the track or why you love doing this? Anything at all?
Well, just about the track, we have, like I said, I believe our first, I'm not looking at it right now. I'm sorry, I
That's
didn't even
okay.
write that down. Our first race is like March 8th, our spring gobbler, which is one of the two biggest races that we have every year, is March 15th.
Okay.
Um, we go through until about June. We don't race August or July or August because it's just too hot here
It's
in
too hot. Yeah.
Virginia.
Yeah. Yeah.
Way too hot. That might change. We're contemplating that, but not
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah.
Um, and then uh, the biggest we have our VDKA, Virginia Dirt Karting Association, uses our track twice a year. Those are usually pretty, have pretty good attendance. And
Okay.
then the Turkey Trot, which is in November, usually the weekend right before Thanksgiving, and that gets a lot of attendance.
Yeah.
So those are our big races this year.
Especially
And
the turkey one because a lot of other racing would be over. And so that would
right,
probably
right.
draws people that are, may race or may travel and they can come to that. So that's a good idea for
Believe it
sure.
or yeah, believe it or not, we have a lot of racing around here that continues all year long.
Yeah.
Even in January indoor. So
Oh yeah, for sure. Indoor, yeah. We have a couple indoor. One of them, I think, is in Ohio, but a lot of Michigan people go there, and that. And so, you know, if you're passionate about racing, you don't care about all that smoke and everything inside that building. You want to race.
I like the smell.
Yeah. After a while, it gives me a headache, but I don't mind it. I really don't mind it for sure. No. Well, Hannah, I've enjoyed talking to you. Is there
Well,
anything
thank
else
you,
you'd like
Melinda.
to
Yeah.
share about what you do or anything?
No, I cannot think of anything.
Okay. Well, I hope you have a really good season. And if you ever want some brainstorming, reach out to me. I'm always reading and listening to podcasts and thinking about, all kinds of racing stuff. Or if I come up with any ideas for you, I'll send them to you. But, you know,
Please do. I'm always looking for advice or ideas,
yeah,
always.
it's nice because I have so many people that I keep in touch with that, sometimes I hear about what they're doing and I think, oh, Hannah would like to do that. So that'll be a good reminder for me.
Thank you. I would appreciate it.
All right. Well, thanks again for being on with me today. I really appreciate your time. And if you want to stay in touch with me, and we'll see how we can grow Capital City Speedway.
In Ashland, Virginia. Yes. Thank you very
Ashland,
much.
Virginia. Yes, for
Yes,
sure.
ma'am.
All right. Well, thank you,
All
Hannah.
right. Thank you.
That's it for this episode of the Women's Motorsports Network podcast. We hope you've been inspired by the stories I shared today and feel more connected to the amazing community of women in motorsports. Remember, whether you're behind the wheel, in the pits, or cheering from the stands, your story matters. And together, we're driving change and celebrating every milestone. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with someone who loves motorsports as much as you do. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram for updates, behind the scenes content, and more incredible stories. So until next time, stay inspired, stay connected, and keep racing through life. This is the Women's Motorsports Network podcast, where every woman's story is worth celebrating.